Okay, good morning. We're playing around this morning just a little bit. Are we late? We're not quite late, are we? We might be a minute or two later. For that, I apologize. All right, good morning, everyone. And yes, we're here once again. It's our weekly YouTube. The spirit world sees all. Do they really see all? We've talked about this before. We have some questions for you. For those of you who are joining us live, get those fingers on the button, get those fingers on your keyboards, because we want some questions from you. So we have to say before we begin, good morning to my spirit guide Gregel, who is standing to my right side. To my far right, actually she's sitting in a different place today, is our Carolyn, who is sick today. So I put her way over, away from me. I'm not going to get whatever she's got. I don't want to have it, so I put her a chair and moved her right to the other side of the room. Say good morning, Carolyn.
Good morning, Carolyn.
Okay. And we also do, yes, we do, for those of you who watched last week. And I have to now move the camera around because, yes, we do have a guest on the sofa, which is my sister. She's sitting on the crack of the cushion there. Say good morning. This is my sister, Marilyn. Oh, no, Madeline. No. So I've got a name. Oh, we're off to a good start.
Okay.
We are really off to a great start.
I think it's time I pack my bags to go home.
So this is my sister, Madeline. We don't quite know. Who is Marilyn? Who is Marilyn? Who is she? We don't know. All right. So this is Madeline, my sister.
Good morning, everyone.
And she was here with us last week. We've had so many comments about the show. So thank you for your lovely, lovely comments. And thank you for your welcome to my sister, who's now going to have to... There you are.
That's better.
All right. She's also not well today. I'm the only one who's well and healthy here today. She's got, what have you got? What's wrong with you?
It's arthritis in my joints.
Arthritis in her joints.
He's a nice guy, arthritis.
But she's better today because I gave her some doctoring yesterday. Right?
Right.
So.
Boss.
Oh, thank God she knows a place. It's taken me all these years and she finally knows a place. Right. But she'll forget it any minute now. All right.
Because we're in public.
It's a bit... When has that ever stopped you? Right. All right then. So, Carolyn, do we have any questions?
We do. Jules, she's live with us.
Oh, good morning, Jules.
Morning, Jules. And she says, what are your thoughts on the third eye, Rosemary? That's interesting.
Well, my sister says that's an interesting question, and it is a quite interesting question. So, all right, so let's talk a little bit about the third eye. Is simply one of those chakras, the 7 main chakras that every one of us has in our body. Now, the word chakra, let's do that because it does sound a bit fancy, doesn't it? And it sounds a bit spooky and woo-woo and all that. Well, the word chakra is a Hindu word, and it simply means spinning wheel. And that's it, really. So we have 7 of these spinning wheels throughout our body. And I'm going to tell you now where they are. Are you ready for this? Most of you, I'm sure, will know this, but I'm going to educate those of you who perhaps don't. All right. So we have, first of all, let's go top to bottom. So we have the top chakra, which seats itself in the crown. A chakra, a spinning wheel, it's a point of energy. It's a little energy digit that we've all got. We have, I believe, thousands of these little chakra points, little tiny pinpricks of energy throughout our body, but we're dealing just right now with the 7 main ones. So we have the top chakra, which is right in the crown. We have then, which is, yes, young lady, is it a young lady we're talking to here? We have, yes, young lady, we have what is commonly known as the third eye or the psychic eye. And that chakra is seated right here in the center of your forehead. Now, behind that chakra is what is known as the pineal gland. And the pineal gland secretes like a liquid. And the more we use our energy field, the more we use our chakras, the more that the pineal gland will secrete, and it's almost a bit like the pineal gland will sort of, not really quite, but giving you an analogy, it'll oil the wheel there. It'll start to make it work more smoothly and so on and so forth. And a lot of that has to do with the serotonin that is in this pineal gland right here. Now, it is said that the Buddha sat under the Buddha tree. The Buddha tree is a fig tree, simply a fig tree. And so the Buddha used to sit and eat all the figs as they dropped from the tree. And of course, people would pass by him from time to time and they would bring him food and what have you. But his diet was a massive dose of figs every day. Well, the fig tree, figs have this chemical inside them, this serotonin and whatever other chemicals, which activate the pineal gland and make it sort of work really well, which makes the third eye work really well. So some people think that the reason the Buddha was so wise and so amazing and had all this wonderful wisdom is because his third eye was very well and truly activated through figs. Now, let me tell you, for those of you who want to rush out now and buy a pound of figs or two, it doesn't work that way. It's got to be this stuff that's got to be built up in your body for a long time, and you've got to be healthy. You've got to be of a right mind, meaning meditation, meaning getting to know your inner self and learning to achieve a state of higher self. All sounds a bit woo-woo to me, but anyway, so moving on. Let's not get trapped in that right now. So we've got the top chakra, which is the crown chakra. We've got the third eye, which is psychic eye, whatever you call it. We've got this energy point which centers right in the forehead here. We've got, now we come to the throat chakra. Now, every person probably on this planet at some point or another has felt that your throat chakra, and we feel our chakras. We don't usually feel them if they're working nicely and smoothly, going round and round, and they're a little bit like a vortex. They go round and round, but at the same time they're drawing in energy, and also they're giving out energy. They're drawing it in and they're giving it out. So that's how these chakra points actually work. But when they get a bit clogged up, or if they're not working properly, which often has to do with our emotional state, it has to do with what we're thinking, the kinds of things that we're going through. Most people have felt that third chakra clog up, because that's when we get the lump in the throat. We get all choked up with emotion, and that's when that chakra, that little energy wheel there stops and stutters and starts and stutters and stops and so on, because our energy is not flowing naturally and easily and normally. So that's the throat chakra. Okay, so we've done 3 so far. Now we come to the heart chakra, another one of the 7 main chakra points. All right, many of you unfortunately have also felt this heart chakra. When you hear somebody say, my heart feels as if it's breaking, and that is when you are in deep distress, and you're in deep trouble, and it's sort of really, your heart chakra really can literally almost come to a standstill, and the pain that causes, we can actually physically feel. When our chakras are not working properly, we can physically feel that. All right, so that's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, that's 4. Okay, now we come to another chakra, which I think probably 99% of us all over the world have felt this chakra, because that is the chakra which sheets itself in the sort of in our solar plexus, right in the middle, right in the middle of our tummy there. And when we're excited, or when we're nervous, or when we're feeling a bit sick because of nerves, again, it's when our energy gets disturbed and disrupted, and you get butterflies in the tummy. We get a feeling of sickness. You hold your tummy and you say, oh, I feel really, really sick, because of nerves or because of anticipation or whatever. And that's that chakra which seats itself in the solar plexus, and it sort of starts to judder and stop and start because that energy flow is not flowing in the way that it should. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 2 left. Okay, all right. The 6th chakra, a student of mine always put it beautifully. It was such a nice way to put it. Our 6th chakra seats itself, as she always used to say, down in the forest. And if you need an explanation, I can't help you other than to say, you know, where your, you know, your very sensitive and private areas are. But I always like the down in the forest thing, and that's how she used to say it. And if you're really, really, really lucky, you can get explosions and you can get all kinds of things going on with this chakra, with this chakra point, because it is very powerful. And, you know, and those of you who have never experienced an explosion, I don't know what to tell you really, but, you know, but it's possible. And you don't let anyone, including a lazy husband or, you know, whatever, tell you differently. Right, now moving on, moving past that, all right, and we have now the final, the 7th main chakra point, main energy point, which seats itself on the base of the spine. And we liken this energy point, this chakra point, this spinning wheel, we liken it to a snake which is coiled 3.5 times around the base of the spine. And those of you who know anything about Kundalini Yoga or Kundalini, you know, the power of the Kundalini, which is a very powerful and can sometimes be dangerous if not used properly or with a good teacher, because basically when we start to uncoil the snake, the energy, basically, the snake is you know, just an example of how the energy works, because it spins around and around and around, but then it comes around and up and up and up and up the spine. And as it's going along and up the spine, and that energy is traveling and traveling up into your body, it touches every single one of those chakra points on its way. And the idea with real meditation, we're talking about people who go into this very heavily, because trust me, the power of the Kundalini is very heavy and not an easy thing to do. But the idea is, as it touches each of your chakra points, you start to raise your level of consciousness. You become much more aware. You become much more aware of the energy that is out there. And as it reaches the top chakra, the final, you know, the last energy point, then this, when it begins to open, it spins and spins and spins. And then it begins to open and goes up and up and up, and it's likened to the 1,000-petaled lotus flower. Yeah. Now, I know that you're stunned here at my knowledge. You're amazed, aren't you, that I know all of this stuff, because we don't usually go into such great detail, but one little question can set us off. All right, so the 1,000-petal lotus flower, as the energy opens and opens and opens and opens, and we raise our level of consciousness, this is when we begin to start to experience things like astral travel. We begin to experience things like being able to connect with the spirit world in a very, very powerful and very positive way. We can experience all sorts of things. However, you don't need to do this Kundalini Yoga. You don't need to do that in order to connect with your loved ones. Just letting you know that if you're into meditation and if you do this sort of thing, it really can raise your level of consciousness amazingly. All right. If you have an active, let's call it the third eye or the psychic eye, whatever you want to call it, if that is active, very often when people see, they don't see, when for instance, if I'm looking, I'm not looking to the spirit world. I'm not looking to those in the spirit world with my eyes necessarily. I'm looking with my everything. And that third eye, that energy point there, is often where I will see things and what I will see and so on. Many people will close their eyes and they'll have visions, and that's where this third eye comes from as well. And I think I've now just about done it in. What do you think? Are we good with that?
Yeah, we've got lots of questions. Pamela says.
Okay, good morning, Pamela.
She says, I am a widow since 2013, and I saw a man that could have been my husband's doppelganger from a distance.
Oh, what he? A
doppelganger, an identical twin.
Okay.
Seeing a person that really resembled my late husband was a little jarring. Is this a message to me?
Well, yeah, it could well have. I'm sorry, what's this lady's name again?
Her name is Pamela.
Pamela. I'm sorry, Pamela. I have an awful memory. Right. Yes, it could very well be a message for you. However, they do say that every single person does have a twin or a double or somebody who looks like them. Your mind can play tricks. You can think you see someone who looks similar to, but it sounds to me as if maybe you glimpsed your husband, because you couldn't mistake him, right? So maybe you glimpsed him, maybe you saw him very clearly, and maybe this was a message to you. Maybe he was trying to show you that he's around you, which I'm absolutely sure that he is, Pamela. Okay.
Dean would like to know.
Good morning, Dean.
And he also sent Madeline and I healing.
Oh, that's nice.
Very nice. Does the gift of mediumship grow with time?
Well, you can. Okay, it's like anything else. You can get a person who can sit down at the piano and just play. You can get children who sit down at the piano and just play. They don't particularly need anything, or they don't particularly need help with anything. They just have a natural gift. And then you get people who need lessons, and they can become fabulous. You all right there?
Yes, thank you.
They can become fabulous pianists, and they can, amaze us with their talents, etc., etc. However, the person who sits down at the piano and does it naturally is always going to be that little bit better, because it's a natural thing within them. So, your question about mediumship, those who are natural mediums, such as myself, they're going to just have that something, that extra, whatever that is. They're going to have that extra something that enables them to connect better and clearer and so on. And I don't even know why it is that some people have the natural ability and why some don't. Why can some people, be amazingly creative, and other people have not a creative bone in the body? So Dean, you can learn and you can develop, and I've met one or two mediums who have developed that gift, and they've been great. I'm thinking of one particular person in England who was a friend of mine, and he was a healer first and foremost, and he was an amazing healer. And he really wanted to learn and to develop his mediumistic gifts, and he did, except that they were very, very hit and miss. Sometimes there was nothing at all, or what was there he didn't understand. And then every once in a while, and I have to tell you, it didn't happen very often, but every once in a while, when it happened, he'd blow your mind with the accuracy of what he could get. And he was very frustrated about it, because he always wanted to have that accuracy every time, but he was a natural healer. He had to work on his mediumship skills, and they were amazing sometimes, but mostly not. So I hope that helps. I hope that answers the question. Can we have another question there?
Beth, this question's from Beth.
Hello, Beth.
She says, I know it's a dumb question, which there's no such thing as a dumb question. But she's wondering, do spirits prefer letting their presence known more in the daytime or the nighttime?
I don't think that's a dumb question at all. I actually think that that's a perfectly normal question, because I, like everyone else, when I first, sort of started to learn about this, so many people think that, the only way that we're going to connect with them is if we're in a dark room with the lights, sort of lights low, or even the lights off. So this gives us the idea that, nighttime is the time when those in the spirit world like to prowl about. So I actually think that that's a really sensible question, and I actually think there'll be a lot of people who will be glad you asked that question, because they may have felt too dumb to ask it, but really do want to know the answer. So the answer is this: our loved ones in the spirit world, they'll come out during the daytime as well as nighttime, or any time and anywhere where we're receptive. Now, some of us are very, very receptive in our sleep state. And this is when those in the spirit world will come to us when we are in that sort of half awake, half asleep state. And that's when we're receptive. And if we happen to sleep at night, that's when they'll come to us. But if we're receptive during the day, they'll come to us during the day also. So I think the answer to your question is no, anytime at all. But thank you for that question, because like many other people, I years and years ago was under that same misconception that it had to be a dark room and the curtains drawn and all that dramatic stuff that we used to get, and people still do now. People still, they have seances and everything's got to be, curtains drawn and all the rest of it, and no light. The only thing you need to know about seances is that they have to be completely uninterrupted. You can't just get up and go and get a cup of tea sometime and then come back down, sit down and join in the seance again. They have to be completely interrupted. Once you form your circle, you stay in the circle with the medium, because if you're part of a seance, you may be wanting a message, but your job is, as part of that seance, is to protect the medium, and the medium has to have the energy just right. And people getting up and down or going to pee or going for a cup of tea or whatever that is, won't work, because it disrupts the energy in the room. Let's have our next question. It seems very odd looking at you across the distance there, but go ahead. Next question.
We've got Kitty, and she'd like me to read this.
She's doing very well. You're doing very well. You're feeling very well. You're feeling really awful, aren't you? She's really feeling awful. She's fading miserably. But yeah, Kitty, she doesn't have a voice, Kitty. You wanted to read something, but she doesn't have a voice. Okay, then let's go. Kitty wants you to read something. Yeah. All right, then. All righty, go ahead.
Rosemary, I would like to thank you very much for our last section Tuesday. We were overwhelmed, and it was very much that happened. But honestly, it's fair. Then the quarters did not fall. But today...
Say that again. It's what?
It's a little confusing. I would like to thank you very much for our last Tuesday session. We were overwhelmed. And it was very much that happened. I think she meant what happened.
It's a lot that happened, yeah. We did talk a lot about stuff. We talked about a lot of... As you're making this public, Kitty, I'm assuming I can talk about it too. So, yes. Kitty, for all of those of you wondering what this is about, Kitty and her family had a consultation with me through Skype, I think it was. So she's saying thank you, and that's very sweet of you. I hope I'm sort of ducking a bit now. I'm sort of wondering what else is coming here, but go ahead.
She said, but honestly, it's fair. Then the quarters did not fall, but today they are falling from heaven, and they keep falling. Everything you said is right, and I'm sure my husband and daughter, know for sure that you've really been our son's voice.
Okay, I think I'm interpreting here, and Kitty, if I'm wrong, let me know. When she says the quarters didn't fall, I think the penny didn't drop. It didn't quite understand everything that was being said to you.
Okay, yes.
To be fair, is that right? She didn't understand what was being said, but today all the pennies are dropping. Is that right?
Everything you said is right. And I know for sure, my family knows for sure that you've really been our son's voice. But what it did to me is a very big gift. My whole body dancing, all the cells, I can shout from the rooftops. Your time, more than what we'd hoped for.
A lot more, yes.
Your willingness to be honest, it's so special to experience you now. We will still contact you by an email. Thank you again, Rosemary.
Oh, that's very sweet. I'm getting all teary-eyed here. That's very sweet, Kitty. I'm glad, in a way, if I'm wrong, if Kitty, if you listen,
said, no, you're right about
the pennies dropping. Yes. Okay, so if I could, I'll talk about this just a little bit then, because Kitty came. If she doesn't want me to talk about,
she said, Caroline, just say to Rosemary, you have my permission for me to read this. Everyone can hear it, and it's already on chat.
Yeah, nice. Really? Yeah. She's on chat already, right? Okay then. All right then. So Kitty came on Skype with her daughter. Lovely girl, little Bossy, but lovely. And We can all be a bit bossy, especially we earth signs can be bossy sometimes. And her lovely husband, Hans is the name, I think. I Hans. Okay, so I had the three of them on there, and we had a good two and a quarter. See, she's supposed to be 50 minutes, but anyway, there we are. Now, often when you come to see someone like me, there'll be a lot, not all by any means, but there'll be a lot of stuff that you're told that you perhaps won't understand, or it won't make much sense to you at all. It'll be, you might sort of walk away thinking, well, I didn't understand this, this, and this. And then you'll say, but she was so right about that I don't understand why I don't know about this and this. And then all of a sudden, as is what happened with Kitty, the penny drops. If you don't understand that, it means basically all of a sudden something will happen. Someone will say something, or a situation will happen which will absolutely verify everything that is being said. And to that end, I will mention someone else who recently had a consultation with me, who she was in business with some of her family. And she was told, you need to go back to the lawyer because there's an issue and there's a loophole here which someone's going to jump through, and you're going to find yourself in big trouble. If you don't close that loophole, somebody else can come in here and step in here and really wreck your business, actually, in the long term. And they had no clue what I was talking about whatsoever. But because so much of everything else was accurate, they immediately went to their lawyers, and she then called us, she emailed us, and then I had a conversation with her, actually, on FaceTime, which was basically, oh my God, I went to the lawyer and I said, somewhere there's a loophole. And the lawyer said, no, I don't think so. I think we're good. And she said, no, you better look again because I've been told there's a loophole. How can you say, look, my medium told me there's a loophole, and my father or my brother or whoever it is, or in Kitty's case, my son told me, so you better listen up. But some people do that, and sure enough, this lady did that, and the lawyer went back and found that loophole, which was a huge loophole, which for whatever reason nobody had actually seen. So they were able to close it up, and now they're safe and secure. So my point is, you don't always know, you don't always understand when a medium tells you something, but if you go to see someone good and you make sure that person is good, then pay attention, because at some point you will understand absolutely everything that is said to you. So thank you, Kitty, and bless you, darling. And I'm so glad your body sings and everything's, you're looking good and you're feeling better. All right. So do we have another question?
We do. We've got Salsa Shakers.
Salsa Shakers. If you're really salsa shakers, I think you should come to Florida and teach me how to salsa. If only my knees would be able to do that, to manage that. Okay.
She says she applied for PPI this Tuesday. I am totally skint. Do you see me getting a return from it, please?
I don't even know what PPI is.
I didn't either. So it's personal protection insurance.
You want me to give you a message like this on YouTube? Is that what you want? I actually wasn't going to do it, but hey, Salsa Shaker, Grails put his hand on my shoulder. So I actually think that you might have a little bit of trouble getting this, whatever this PPI is, but you've got to be a little bit determined and a little bit dogged. And if you can do that and be that and push for it, I think you'll get, I don't think you'll get exactly what you want, but I think you'll get quite a bit of what you want. So go for it, is what I say. And this show is not about giving messages, but there you go, sweetie. We're feeling good today. Why not?
Well, we've got a couple people asking for information.
All right.
I'll read it and let you decide.
Okie dokie.
We have got Beth saying hello and thank you.
Hello, Beth.
I do believe you have good law information too, Rosemary.
I have what?
So good law information.
Good law?
Yes.
What does that mean?
You'll.
Yeah, so,
Will my divorce ever end?
Oh God. Oh well, I've been right where you are, darling, and oh my gosh, you know, I mean, you're lucky. Perhaps your husband didn't disappear for several years like mine did. So, and then only lifted his head up. We couldn't find him anywhere. We couldn't. He just got lost in the system, and so my divorce took, I don't know, felt like 100 years. But anyway, will it ever end? Well, I don't need to be psychic to know that, do I? What do you think, Madeline? You're not psychic. Yes. What do you think?
I think, yes, it will end.
I think so too. And I think in the meantime, Beth, you know, just hold on to your courage, because even though we're laughing about it, and even though, you know, we think, oh God, you know, will we ever get out of this situation? I know from personal experience, as does my sister, we know from personal experience what it's like to be going through such awful trauma and feeling that it really, will it ever end? Because you feel that until it ends, you can't be free. You're not free to get on with your life and do something new and something different, and you just, you know, completely tied up. So, you know, you've got to, you know, just hold on, hang on there.
Hangeth in there, Beth.
Hangeth in there, she
Hangeth in
says.
there.
And we're with you all the way.
Yeah.
She said to tell you it's his family, that's the issue.
Well, yeah, but
It's
it always.
It's often is.
So be strong, darling. Be strong. You know, just, you know, be strong.
Yeah.
You know, you will get through it. And I'll promise you this, Beth, when you're through it, you'll look back and you'll be so happy that you did this, because
you'll be stronger for it as well.
There you are.
And Dean chimed in and he said, I know what it's like for that divorce trauma too. It does get better.
It really does. It doesn't seem it when you're going through it. And, you know, the biggest problem is all those people who just want to interfere, who have nothing to do with any of it, really and truly, at the end of the day, but they'll interfere and they can make life miserable. Well, don't let them. Just don't let them. You know, I have a friend who was having an issue at work. She's a school teacher, and there was a particular teacher at school. She got on with everybody else, and she's a great teacher. She's, you know, really loves her school, but there was this one particular woman. Of course, there's always one person that you might not like, or whose energy is just clashing with your energy. And, you know, I said to my friend, well, why do you put yourself in you know, the line of fire? Why do you know, well, sometimes, she says, sometimes I have to be in the same room with her. And I said, look, why don't you just pretend she's a ghost and that you can't see her and she's not there and she's, you know, that. So try, if you can, sweetie, to pretend that they're all ghosts. And of course, I don't believe in ghosts, but you know what I'm saying. Just, you know, just they're there and you're here.
But you know what they say about when you're making a speech or you're in the theatre and something like that, and your lines dry up. Somebody says, picture the audience in their underwear.
So picture your husband's family in their.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be horrible. You wouldn't
It
really
make you smile.
It will make you.
There you go.
It makes us laugh. But we laugh at anything. Actually, don't we? We do.
We're British, yes.
Stiff upper lip and all that. Right. Let's have another question. We're getting lots of questions today. This is great. Good. Keep it coming. Don't forget. I'm just going to, because I will forget to tell you at the end. Subscribe. We're going to be sorting out some questions for our Christmas competition. You cannot enter if you're not subscribed. Subscribe. Go for it, Carolyn.
We've got Jessica, who lost her son. And she says, a lot of stuff has happened, and I feel like there should be a reason why.
Jessica, first of all, darling, can I just say how my sympathy is with you, how much I feel for you, and I do know, not, thank God, through personal experience, but I know because I speak to people who've lost their children all the time and have been doing this for many years. I know how devastated you must be.
She really is concerned that he's okay.
Okay, all right. Well, I don't know if I can tell you that today. I just don't know. And Kitty mentioned, you know, Kitty said, I try to be as honest and upfront with people as I can be. I'm not all knowing and all seeing. I don't know everything. And, you know, there are things that, you know, are beyond me and beyond my understanding. If I say to you that there is a reason, then, you know, whatever reasons I might point out to you that you lost your son, or for whatever reason things are happening, they're not going to be good enough reasons for you. I can tell you now, because, you know, because nothing's going to be good enough right now for you, because you're so much in grief, and you're, you know, and of course you're concerned for him. So as I've been talking to you and nattering to you, I have been talking to Gregor, and he does have his hand on my shoulder. So I'm going to say two things to you. First of all, I'm pretty sure he's okay. I also have a sense of a young man, not a little boy. So I have a sense of a young man standing to my left side here, and he's talking to me about a birthday, or an anniversary. I'm not quite sure which it is. That is coming very, very soon, and he, you know, wants you to know he's going to be there and celebrating, and he wants you to celebrate. He wants you to understand that he's with you and celebrating everything in your life with you, everything. So don't worry about him. He'll be fine. Okay. As I'm talking to you, I've got quite a few people in your family who are standing behind me, I feel, who are wanting you to know that you're not alone, you're not on your own. You feel that you are, and I know that you're suffering. If we can help you in any way, just email us. If you just, you know, I don't know what we can do for you, but we can certainly send our healing prayers to you. And try if you can. Just try if you can. It's easy for me to say, but just to understand that he is safe, definitely, and that I think he is very much still a part of all of your lives. Okay. I don't know if that helps. I hope that helps. Okay.
Courtney says, it's been a really rough time with my family lately. Could you ask my grandma if things will calm down for us anytime soon?
No, I can't, Courtney, because to ask, if I ask your grandmother, do you know how many people we would be having to talk to today? And that's not what we do here. But I can say this. Again, I'm talking to Gregor. You're an extremely sensitive little thing. You're very, very easily influenced sometimes, not always by the right people. But you have this solid core inside of you, and I don't think you realize how strong you are. I don't think you realize how much you can endure. I'm going to say this because I think Gregor is telling me that it's important for me to say this to you. All right, people can only do to you what you allow them to do. So if you're allowing people to get to you, or to get at you, or to make you feel less than you are, because I think that's what's happening here, if you allow them to do it, they win. People can only do to you what you allow them to do. You've got to stand up, lift that chin up, get out there. You're a strong girl. You're very sensitive. And there's nothing wrong with that. The nicest people and the best people are the most sensitive. You know, when we hear people say the problem with you is you're too sensitive, or the problem with you is, you know, you take things to heart too quickly. Well, they're the people I like to have around me, because the people who are sensitive and are people who are loving and kind and generous. You've got a power inside of you. You've got an energy inside of you. Don't let these people get to you. Don't let them get you down. If you let them, they will. And I have a feeling that your grandmother might just be by your side, even as I'm saying this to you, giving you the strength that you need to combat it. Okay? It'll stop when you say stop. Let's have our next question, shall we?
Suzanne.
Hello, Suzanne.
She says, I have attended a few of your events this past year, hoping for a message from my brother. I never spoke out and finally figured it was because of fear. Why am I so fearful of something I want?
Well, I think, Suzanne, I honestly think that, you know, I know that when people come and see me, they're afraid that it will happen and that they'll get emotional and show themselves up this is how they see it, show themselves up or start blubbering in front of strangers. Or they're afraid that it will happen, but it's not right. Or, you know, we're afraid to be disappointed. So I'm going to tell you, the next time you come to see me, you come and tap me on the shoulder and you remind me of this conversation that we just had. And I'm pretty sure we'll be talking to your brother. And I'm pretty sure, actually, that I'm told from Grey Eagle to tell you he's right with you. He's right there with you. So, you know, even if you're quaking in your boots, just come and say hello. That's all you have to do. I won't bite.
And bring your quaking boots with you.
Bring your quaking boots with you. I won't bite much. I won't bite very hard. I don't bite very hard, do I?
Not to me, you don't. Because I bite right back.
Oh, I'm not worried about that. Do I bite? Do I bite with other people? Oh, maybe that's something.
Sometimes. Sometimes.
I won't bite you, Suzanne. What do you think?
Occasionally.
Well,
It's usually called for.
There you go. Usually called for.
You see, if you do
Yes,
something
honest.
to deserve me biting, I'll bite. But I have a feeling, Suzanne, I won't bite you. I promise you. I've been really nice, you promise. So come and talk to me next time around, all right? Okay. It is true. I am tough. It is very true. I'm tough with my students. I'm very tough with them, but they all seem to love me anyway. I don't know what it is. I think, you know, I'm tough, but I'm also fair. So
That's the main thing, isn't it?
yeah. So, you know, don't worry too much. I think that's true to say, right?
Absolutely.
If I bite, it's only because I needed to.
Mm.
Yes. Are you saying yes, Karen?
Yes, yes. Yeah, I'm reading at the same time.
You can say no if you want to say no. There are no holes barred here. Right.
But the door's there.
All right.
We've got Courtney, who suffers from anxiety very badly.
Who is
Courtney.
it? Courtney.
She hasn't left her house in 4 years.
Wow.
She says she's really a kind person, a big people pleaser, but
That's your problem, isn't it? Right there. People pleasing. Here's the thing, Courtney. I always tell people this because we can get so anxious, because the truth of the matter is, no matter how much we try to please people, we can't. We can't always please them. If you try to please the person standing on your left, the person on your right is going to be unhappy. You know what I'm saying, because this is your life. If you try to please the person on the right, the person on the left is going to be unhappy. Do you know the only way to make sure that you please someone is to please yourself? Now, Courtney, I think it would be safe to say, if you haven't been out for 4 years, you need to step out, or you've got a computer, I'm sure. Well, I know you have, because you're listening to this and you're talking to me, right? All right. So you need to find a good therapist. Where does she live? Does she tell us where she lives? You need to find someone who can help you, because if you allow this to go on, the next time we talk, it'll be, I haven't been out for 10 years, and then you won't be able to go out. And I think that, if you find someone to help you, a therapist, or, even a doctor, or you need to find someone good. Be careful, because, as we all know, not everybody is what they say they are. But I really feel that you should be seeking therapy of some kind. And if we can help in any way, you can just email us with questions and we'll do our best to answer you. Rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com. But I can't help you, and other people can't help you unless you take that step to helping yourself. So you've got to take those steps to help yourself, Courtney. I'm sure that you're a lovely person. I'm sure that you're perhaps ultra sensitive. And it can be a pain. It can be awful to be ultra sensitive. I'm an ultra sensitive person, and when I was growing up, it was the worst thing in the world to be. And the amount of time that I had people say to me, "You know what the trouble with you is? The trouble with you is you're too sensitive, you're oversensitive." Well, the trouble with me is that I just didn't know how to appreciate that sensitivity, and I didn't know how to use that sensitivity. But sensitive you are, and sensitive is lovely. You can't be too sensitive. You can't be oversensitive. It's not possible. What you have to learn to do is you have to learn to handle it, because that can be the difficulty. So you need to take that first step, darling. And I'm actually trying to push you out there. You've got to take that first step to making the move. Go online, check people out. You can, a lot of people do this online for people like you who can't step out of their own environment, but you need to get some help. So take that first step. And feel free to email us whenever you just need a little booster, because I'm a really good person. We already decided, didn't we, that I can bite when it's fair, but I also can kick someone enough, to get you going, get you moving. All right. I hope that's helpful. Do we have another question here?
We do. Salsa Shakers asks, I'm going through a tough time with my friend. She puts everyone before me. I am a people pleaser. Should I just let this friendship go? Which, that's a good question. When do you let go of a friendship?
The interesting part to me is she puts everyone else before me, which tells me, Salsa Shaker, that you're a very sensitive person. It tells me that you can easily feel left out. So part of this issue may be your issue, not your friend's issue. You've got to be very careful with friendships, because friendships, we don't have too many, any of us. I'm lucky I have a lot, but even so, you don't, in my opinion, you don't throw friendships away easily. Would you agree, Madeline?
I totally agree.
You don't throw friendships away easily. If someone is deliberately hurting you, if someone is deliberately offensive to you, if someone is deliberately belittling you, ditch them.
No,
That's
not a friend.
That's not a friend, right? That is simply not a friend. But if this person doesn't realize, have you thought of having a conversation with her and telling her how you feel? I'm not saying get mad and then tell her how you feel. I'm saying, sit her down quietly and say, can we just talk, and just talk as friends? And this is how I'm feeling. But I think some of it is you, because I think you are a very sensitive person. Many people would say that the problem with you is you're too sensitive. We already did that one. You can't be too sensitive. You just have to learn how to deal with it. When my friends say things or do things to offend me or to upset me, I have learned over many years, what I do is I step back and I just step back and I take a look and I ask myself these questions. Did that person deliberately mean to hurt me, or is my sensitivity the issue that is hurting me? Did that person deliberately mean to offend me or to be mean to me? Or is it my sensitivity? Because I'm so sensitive, am I viewing it that way? If the answer is that person did mean deliberately to offend me, to belittle me, to be mean to me, that is not a friend, and you should ditch her in a heartbeat. Absolutely. But my advice is, true friends, you have to give them the benefit of the doubt. You have to give yourself the benefit of the doubt as well. And you need to work on a friendship. It shouldn't be just one-sided. Sometimes the friend gets more, sometimes you get more. That's how friendships work, but it should be an even coming together. So you need to ask yourself those questions. And I'm certainly not saying you should end a friendship just because you're feeling let down. Ask yourself those questions and go talk to your friend in a calm way, in a gentle way. And
invite her over for coffee. Go
Right.
have coffee together and say, I've got something I need to talk to you.
Yeah, exactly. And that can be hard because at the end of it, you might lose a friend. If she says, well, I don't like you anymore, it can be hard, but at the same time, better that than just ditch your friend just because. Okay, next question.
Okay, we're going to take a question of somebody that had written in. Mama Tina, she asks, if we admire a public figure who we've never met, can we know or meet them in the afterlife?
Well, I'm going to ask my sister, right? First of all,
Yes.
do you have anyone that you've admired in your life that you might want to see when you pop your clogs? That means, you know, go heavenward. Do you have anyone? And Carolyn, what about you? Is there someone you admire? And it could be anybody. It doesn't have to be a politician. It might be somebody in your family you've always wanted to meet. Oh, there you are. So Carolyn would like to meet Anne Frank. And is there a possibility of that? I think I've forgotten her name.
Right, Mama Tina.
I got it, but I couldn't say it. Mama Tina. Will you meet Anne Frank? Only if Anne Frank wants to meet you. I mean, you never know, but it's a two-way thing. You know, if you request, you know, I'd love to meet Anne Frank, and she says, I'm too busy. No, why would I meet you? Then there's no chance at all. Got anybody in your mind, Madeline? Here?
It's not somebody that I like or admire or would want to meet in the here and now. But I would like to meet Hitler. And I would like to know what makes him tick. Or what made him tick? What makes him tick?
Oh, wow! Well,
I might want to punch him on the nose as well, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, well, you know what they say: curiosity killed the cat.
Absolutely.
It's an
I'm going there anyway.
It's an interesting. That's interesting. I mean, again, it has to be said. I'm asking Gregor for help on this one because
I'm hoping that Hitler isn't anywhere near where my spirit is.
You see, I believe that God gives everyone a second chance. At the point of death, if you like, I believe that God gives everyone the chance to come to him.
And that's
no
true.
No matter how bad
I believe that too. But here's the thing. All right, so we're getting into soul signs again. And we're getting into the dark soul, and dark souls apparently have no desire or inclination. They are not of God or have anything to do with God, and they come from this dark place and so on. However, I agree with my sister in that at that point of death, at that point of, you know, deciding, let's say, where you're going to go, I think let's say the door to heaven, let's put it this way, the door to heaven is open for anyone who wants to step through. However, when you step into the light, which is going to God, which is going to heaven, nirvana, whatever it is you call it, when you step into the light, everything you are is shown to you and is shown to everyone else. Everything you are within you, every part of your energy, everything that you have done, both good and negative, everything is there for you to see. So for someone who is, let's say someone who is evil or who has done evil deeds, okay, for me to step into the light, it's fine. I know, you know, I'm going to see some black spots there. I'm not going to like everything I see, but I'm, you know, because I am of God and I am of the light, I'm prepared for those consequences because, you know, I'm sure I'm not a perfect soul. I'm not a perfect human being and so on. So I'll step into the light. I might cringe a bit when I step into the light. I might think, oh, you know, I'm sorry, really sorry. I didn't mean to do this or say that and so on. But we're all going there. We all have that. But for someone who, I had a patient many years ago, many years ago. I was called to the hospital, and this patient had been in the SS, which is talking about Hitler. He'd been in the SS, and he had done many evil deeds, but he was forced to do it or be shot himself. So he was, you know, in that brigade of men who shot and killed in many ways. You know, I mean, he told stories of how they would, you know, they would put men back to back so that they'd only waste one bullet. They'd only need one bullet for two men because it would go through the front of one man's head and in the back of the other and so on. And this man totally believed, was terrified that he was going to go to the devil, that he was going to go to the dark side, that God would not accept him. So, you know, here is someone who wants God to accept him, but knows that he's done terrible things, terrible and evil things. And it takes a very brave soul to step into the light and to accept and to see all of those dark deeds, but to still want to be of God and to want to be accepted into the light, which shows remorse, and it shows, you know, real understanding of who they are and what they've done, but yet still they want to be accepted by God because there is this part of them which is of God. And when that is the case, then they are, I believe, given that second chance. But there are many who don't even want to go there. They don't want to go to the light. They're perfectly happy doing what they're doing, but it doesn't mean that the door isn't open for them if they chose to walk through it. So I'm agreeing with my sister when I say, you know, God gives everyone a chance, but not everybody wants a chance, because not everybody wants to be of God. Not everybody wants to be a part of God. There is hopefully a very small faction of people who walk this earth who are, you know, who have no inclination towards the light whatsoever and are purely evil through and through. I can't speak to Hitler, so I don't know whether Hitler will be where you are when this happens, and we have to wait and see.
But if he's with God, he won't be the same Hitler that was on this earth.
Right, and we hope that he's learned and grown, that, you know, and so on and so forth.
He wouldn't be in heaven if he hadn't.
What is there anyone? I'm thinking, is there anyone very briefly who I would like to see to answer this question? And
yes, we've got Dean would like to meet Tchaikovsky.
Tchaikovsky.
Yes, thank you.
Well, of course, Dean is music through and through, and yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it, to meet Tchaikovsky? I'd like to meet Chopin. That's not my first choice necessarily, but I love Chopin.
Beth would like to meet Elvis.
I already did.
He's left the building.
I already did that, and we talk about that in one of our videos, so you have to go back through the videos to see where that might be one of our questions. In which video did I see Elvis? So I'm giving you a heads up. We might use it, but we might not. You never know for our competition.
Sarah says she'd love to meet Michael Jackson.
Wow, yeah. I wouldn't mind meeting Nostradamus.
King Tut.
Tut. Oh yeah. Wow. Right. We're going to the Egyptian side of things now. All right. Well, you know, so the question is, if I had someone in mind, could I? And if that person is in agreement and would like to meet you, you know, and like to maybe, you know, it's just like here, you know, do you want to go for coffee and meet so and so? And if they want to come along, yes. And if they don't want to come along, no chance at all. So, you know, so I think that answers that question. Do we have any other questions? Because we're kind of getting to time. We may have one for
we have one more question.
Okay, let's go.
Excuse me. Does all temptation to humans come from evil? And she's referring, you know, the Bible.
And who is this?
This is Albertine.
Albertine. Does all temptation come from
evil?
I thought you said from humans.
No.
Sorry.
Does all temptation to humans come from evil?
No, I think, you know, look, you know, let's run the gamut here from I'm really tempted to eat the cookies I'm going to make in a minute because we're doing big baking because I'm having a dinner party. We're having, what are we having? We're having salmon on croûte. We're having, yeah, I'm making some hummus. My sister did the peas today. I hate shelling my. I know you can make hummus without, but my hummus is fabulous and it's nice and smooth and creamy. So we have to shell the chickpeas. But so she did that. I gave that job. I always give her the rotten jobs, right? So are we tempted to eat the hummus when we've made it in a minute, which will be made within the next half an hour? Yes, of course we're tempted to eat it. So that temptation comes from my own self and my own naughtiness and maybe a little bit of greed in me. Will I be tempted to eat those savory cheese biscuits that I'm going to make for the weekend? Oh, with that, yes, because they are delicious. But will I be tempted to do something, you know, worse? And it depends on what happens to me, and it depends. So sometimes it comes from pure evil. Sometimes we let in that negative energy, that negative evil, if you like. But, you know, it's temptation runs the gamut, to mild temptations to severe temptations. And if we have God within us, and if we work with God, those severe temptations, when they come, you know, the temptation, I think the most severe temptation that I've had in my life so far is to hang someone by their thumbs, or in a tree by their thumbs, or what have you. I've been very tempted to do that. And I can remember once we had an experience in Crete, I think it was, where there were these 4 big rugby playing bullies who hurt my daughter. Well, I had to work very hard, let me tell you, then to not to think really, really negative thoughts. And I worked with Grey Eagle, and he actually said to me, please don't worry about it, try and let it go, we have it in hand. And they did have it in hand, and those 4 men were severely punished and sent off of the island, and never to be allowed on the island again. But that's a whole other story for another time. But temptation comes in many forms, and we're all subject to it. We're all prone to it. We try, obviously, most of us, not to succumb most of the time. Do we have one more nice, lovely, happy question?
We
Do you have
don't
a
really have any
question?
questions.
Do you have a question?
No, what time's coffee?
Do you want to say anything? What time's the hummus? Any minute now. All right, so we are this afternoon, we're going to be cooking up a storm. I'm going to be making some rough puff pastry. I'm going to be making some skinny minis. I have the chicken there already. I'm going to be making all sorts of things we're going to be making today, because it's a rainy day, so no day for the beach today.
And I'm cleaning number plates.
Yes, my
Ready
sister's
to take back to England.
My sister's cleaning number plates. I thought you were in the kitchen with me, but apparently not.
Well, half and half.
Okay, then. My sister collects number plates, so we've got a whole load of number plates.
License plates.
License plates, yes. License plates.
Oh,
Sorry.
right.
Number plates in England, license plates.
What are number plates?
License car, license bike, license. That
Guys,
sort of
you should
thing.
see my lounge wall. It's full of them. All from America. Fabulous. I told you I'm quirky. What else can I say?
Okay, my sister collects license plates. I collect crystal, and I collect silver. I can do this, thanks. I collect crystal. I collect silver. I collect antiques. She collects.
I've no desire for any of those.
So there we
I
are.
like the quite quirky stuff.
What can I tell you? So see how very different we are in so many ways, and very much the same in other ways. So if you need us, email Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. Please, Jessica, apparently from Carolyn. Jessica, email us. All right, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. If you would like to know more, we are on Facebook. We are on Twitter. We are we're Instagram. I keep forgetting Instagram, so bear with me. We're on Meetup. We're all over the place actually, and we're on YouTube, of course. So if you need to know more about us, if you have a question, you can email it to us before the show, or you can just join us live on the show and send your question to us. So from Grey Eagle, we say cheerio. And very English.
That was, wasn't it?
Carolyn?
Ta-ta.
I had a prediction last week that just came true.
Oh, what was the prediction?
My prediction was, you botched. Dean's going to ask if Madeline's available. Dean says, another fun show. Thanks. Is Madeline available? Just kidding. Don't read that out loud, Carolyn.
What do you mean, Dean? You're just kidding?
No, what she did. She read it out loud. Dean, isn't she awful? She's awful. All right. All right, so we're all over the place. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on all of those things. If you need to know more about us, again, I'm going to say email us, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. I forgot my own address then. We are going to be having a competition. Please subscribe. You will not be able to join the competition if you do not subscribe. Get your friends to subscribe and all of that stuff. Madeline, do you want to say ta-ra? Ta-ra, love.
Ta-ta, people.
Ta-ta for now. Ta-ra, love.
Cheers, peeps.
There are many different ways that we can say goodbye from me to you. Okay. Until I see you again next week, please, 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 please do have a very, very, very blessed blessed day. I'm going to now try. It could take me a while. Where is that little? Oh, there it is. I'm going to click us
Where
on.
is she?